Greetings, my children. Today, prompted by some discussion on the RPG Brigade, we're going to talk about clerics. Clerics are not heal bots. They do not just exist to heal your sorry ass should it get hurt, should it get diseased, or should it get dead. They are not the magic get out of jail free card that you seem to think they are. Clerics are the chosen of a god, or a goddess, or a primal force. They are the chosen one. You fighter, you magic user, you thief, certainly you gnomes, are just all pitiful fools compared to the chosen one who has graced your party. Because they are chosen by a god, by a divinity. And they can prove it. Because they can throw miracles. The same way that a wizard will toss off spells, the cleric can toss off a miracle. Can call on the power of their divinity to work wonders. Now in this post, the opening post was about some character's backstory about that they lost a loved one to a disease. But how do you lose loved ones in a disease when there are such things as clerics who can cast cure disease? Of course, this does ignore a few vicissitudes in the game. First, cure disease is a third level spell, accessible by 5th level clerics. God, that's a silly thing. But anyway, so to be able to cast cure disease, to be able to call on the god to cure some fool peasant, or some fool adventurer, or some fool noble, some unworthy of disease, the cleric has to be at least 5th level. And they have to be able to cast cure disease. Now, this isn't normally a problem. In most versions of D&D, the cleric gets to pick whatever spells they like. However, this is ignoring one of the basic coders in the game, that the cleric is a channel for their divinity. Technically, it is not the cleric who chooses the spells, but their god, their goddess. The power that flows through them is the one that chooses what spells they're able to cast. Technically, it is also the thing which chooses when the spells get cast. Of course, we leave a lot of this agency up to the player. It's always helpful to remember that it's not the character who gets to choose the spells, but their divinity. In the earlier versions of D&D, this was written into the game. This was part of the rules. It explicitly stated somewhere in the 1st edition Dungeon Master's Guide that a cleric's gain of spells, especially beyond the 1st and 2nd level spells, was dependent on a dialogue with their divinity or an agent of that divinity. So, to be able to cast cure disease, you have to have a god willing to grant cure disease. Second, even if this is true, you've got to have a god willing to cure that fool of disease. And this is where role-playing comes into effect. If there is some fool in your adventuring band, or some fool NPC suffering from something, and you know that your god wouldn't approve of that fool being cured, then you're well within your right to say, nope, no cure disease for you. Even if the offending player, when somebody's on your character sheet, you say, no cure for you are not worthy of being cured by my god. You are not worthy of that power, that transcendence of the divine into the material world to work a miracle, to work a wonder. So, there are many reasons why some fool did not get cure disease on them. So first, there was no cleric available. Clerics are, after all, an adventuring class. They are rare. They are not common. It depends on what version of Dungeons & Dragons, what your vision is of how common any particular class is in a society. But often numbers you see bandied about are things like 1 in 100 people are of the adventuring classes, of which the cleric is only one. There's about 16 of them now. So that means 1 in 1,600 people is a cleric. 1 in 1,600. So in a big town, you might expect a few. And then they've got to be 5th level. They've got to manage to get to 5th level. They've got to amass all those experience points to get to 5th level. So very few people would make it even to 5th level. Most are going to be 1st to 3rd. So they're just not going to have the raw divine power to be able to cast that spell. Lastly, so your pool of 5th level and above clerics is probably very, very small. Not a great proportion of the population can do it. And then you've got to hope that that 5th level cleric is of a religion that's going to grant cure disease. Imagine a god of fire. Their reaction to a plague might be very different to your traditional heal-bot cleric. Their idea to deal with the plague might be to toss a 3rd level fireball. That cures the plague. That gets rid of the infected. And it's a very holy 3rd level spell for fire priests in D&D these days. They can cast fireball. And they can cleanse far more than just one person with fireball. They can cleanse an entire room. They can purify them. So, better hope it's not a cleric of fire or a cleric of death, one of those traditional necromancers. They might be welcoming the plague, cutting them down, so that there are more bodies, more ripe troops for their undead legions, the true holy ones, for their faith. So they're not going to be terribly useful. Of course, a war god, they're not probably going to sit around just healing someone's ass. If they know that someone's caused a disease, and in a D&D fantasy world, usually the agents of disease are not microbes, they're some agent of evil or good, or some agent anyway. So they'll be out to kill that person. They'll be out crusading. They're going to wait around for the disease to take everyone out. They'll go out, wipe out the source, and a few people die in the meantime, and so be it. The less said about the Trickster God clerics, the better. I don't think they're going to bother to cure your ass. Just don't count it. So you've got to count on there being something like a life cleric or a knowledge cleric, able to cut off 5th level in the area, cure your ass. And then you've got to be of the right religion. You've got to belong to their religion. Because if you think a cleric's going to heal a heretic, just someone who's not even going to aid their cause, well, then you've got another thing coming. So there's that problem too. You know, PC clerics, well, they get jumped into this heal-bot mode, but you can sort of justify it if you're a PC and it's another PC. Because, well, they're helping you further your aims, whatever those aims are. Probably murdering things if you're playing D&D. But NPC on NPC action? No! They've got to be of the right faith. They've got to be of the right social class. They've got to make the right donations. They've got to be pious. Because the cleric's only going to dispense their miracles among the pious. And occasionally dispense one amongst the heathens, just to get more bums on seats, so that their divinity is more powerful than these other fools. But you've got to meet all those requirements, and that's just a normal D&D. If you're playing some other version of D&D, maybe clerics are very rare. Maybe those chosen by the gods are extremely rare, and I recommend this. Don't have institutions of clerics with miracles everywhere. Have them be the actual chosen ones, those rare people who can access the divine. Because that makes the game far more interesting. It makes miracles far more miraculous if they're rare. So maybe they are just rare. You just don't find people able to do it. So hopefully those mad rambling thoughts, some thoughts on why clerics just won't cure your ass. And why your character can have a backstory that the plague wiped out someone they loved, and then motivated them to go and be one of those people who can actually do something about it. Thank you.